Two astronauts, one space station, and no end in sight. I'm talking about NASA astronauts Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore. They've been stranded in space, stuck up there for more than 6 months now, and their homecoming has just been delayed again. Backstory first, Williams and Wilmore blasted off on the 5th of June on Boeing's Starliner capsule. This is a new spacecraft. The aerospace company built it for NASA, so NASA astronauts were tasked with testing the capsule. That was the mission, to test it. And this mission was supposed to last 8 days. But it grew to 8 months. After rocketing into orbit, the Starliner ran into problems. It had helium leaks and its thrusters malfunctioned. The capsule successfully delivered the test pilots to the International Space Station, but it could not bring them home. So NASA decided to extend the mission. In September, they brought back the Starliner empty. The astronauts were left in space for longer. Enter the Dragon spacecraft. It is a brand new capsule by Elon Musk's SpaceX. Now, this is the spacecraft that is going to launch the next NASA mission. A crew of 4 astronauts will go up in February 2025. It will have 2 free seats on the return trip. So NASA decided those seats, those 2 empty seats, will be taken by Williams and Wilmore, kind of like a post-party carpool to drop your friends home. At least that was the plan. The ticket home for the stranded astronauts. But the problems were far from over. The Dragon, the new spacecraft, is not ready to take its flight. SpaceX needs more time, so Williams and Wilmore just got their space mission extended again. NASA says they won't be back until spring, until the end of March or April. Basically, they will be stuck in space for at least 10 months. So here on Earth, there is public outrage. Boeing is facing the music. They have lost more than $1 billion. They're thinking about selling their space business. Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden is cracking jokes, saying, and I'm quoting, saying that he may need to go to space to save the astronauts. 82-year-old Biden, who should focus on bringing his people back, is in his George Clooney era. Meanwhile, NASA is in its Delulu era. All year, they have insisted that the astronauts are not stuck or stranded. Well, let's see. Imagine going on an 8-day work trip, not to Paris or London, but to outer space, and not being able to leave for 10 months. Most people would consider that stranded. And do you know how they're justifying this recent delay? With standard PR lingo. They say, and I'm quoting, "This is a painstaking endeavor that requires great attention to detail." Did they get ChatGPT to write this? That's their reason for another delay, painstaking endeavor, which is difficult news for Williams and Wilmore. Yes, they're both Navy. Yes, they're highly trained astronauts. Yes, they have extensively rehearsed everything that can go wrong. They know the risks involved. But they're also human, and this ordeal cannot be easy. Space is hard on the body. It is one of the most prohibitive environments. Living in zero gravity means piercing headaches, space sickness, which is like motion sickness on steroids, digestive issues, genetic changes, vision deterioration, and loss of bone density. You can see the physical toll on Williams and Wilmore, so much so that they had to address public concerns. They had to give reassuring statements. But what we may not be able to see is also the mental toll, because space is hard on the mind as well. The monotony of living inside hallways no more than 6 feet wide, with walls of computers and cables, being confined for months on end. But despite the difficulties, with their hair floating upwards, they have both reiterated that they feel grateful for more time in space, and they do not blame the circumstances. While we can only hope for their safe and speedy return, here's something to consider. The next time we get angry over a cancelled train or a flight delay, let's spare a thought for these NASA astronauts, who at least on the outside are looking at the silver lining from up in space.